Okay, and hi there. We're going to do an assessment of Hilldale Avenue, which is in Blackley in Manchester. So we've had the viewing in, obviously, and we're going to do condition assessment first. So what I'll do is I'll share my screen and we'll get stuck in.
Yep.
There we are. Now, I'm working off my laptop, which is a lot slower and smaller than my desktop PC at home, but there you go. I'll be back to normal service soon. All right, so this looks to me like an Edwardian house, so 1920s, I would have said, so 1920-ish. But Martin, maybe you can confirm.
We don't have data for this property, and not the issue, but all properties around look different each other, especially the roof, and so I cannot guarantee it, but I think it's between 30 and 50s.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So the condition isn't great. That's not a problem. So we have to rely on the Weber stuff. It's got an odd layout in some respects. For example, this room here, which is double width plus the fireplace, which they've kept in, is unusual. And downstairs we've got relatively economy laminate flooring, and we've got textured ceilings. I think this property is on the let me just say that there was a transition period from old construction methodology to more modern, and the big change was plasterboard, and this came in the 50s. So prior to that, it was plaster and lath, which is always a bit problematic. But it looks to me like it's probably been done, as in the plaster and lath has been removed and plasterboard instated. But we'll see more in a minute when we look at the video. And the kitchen is 20 years old, I would have said. They obviously decided to not try and make good the ceiling, but instead put this stuff on top, which acts as an insulation layer, which is a good thing. Had this been done 10 years earlier, what they would have done was put polystyrene foam tiles on the ceiling or some kind of suspended ceiling. But in this case, they've got this kind of suspended ceiling with this kind of boarding. The issue here is that if the property is in a good location and is in a very strong capital growth area, it will, what I call, demand to be done up properly. And that means stripping out the blue tiles, the dated, just updating the whole thing so that it feels modern. And also, obviously, we've got the conservatory. Generally speaking, these rooms are fairly useless because they get too hot in summer, too cold in winter. And in this case, it's again part of a big 1980s renovation, as far as I can see, based on the styles and the condition of everything, which is fine. So the property probably had a deep renovation back then, hence kitchen, hence conservatory, and also other things like this fitted wardrobing here. That's a very 1980s, early 1980s look. And it's pretty consistent with a pattern that I see time and time again, where properties have a huge renovation maybe once every 40 or 50 years, that kind of thing. So the other thing is, of course, the carpets are very consistent with 1980s. And you see you've got the fitted headboard here and so on. I wonder if this is a probate property. If it is, that leads to issues because quite often the descendants or the beneficiaries of the estate get all sentimental and they say, well, you know, we want the property to go to a loving home because my dear Aunt Mabel lived here and she would have liked that. So we'll find out as we go. All right, and feature fireplace. Another sign that this has been done reasonably comprehensively is that there's no coving here, and this has been blocked out. Again, consistent with the theme of a thorough renovation. And it all looks fairly dry as well, i.e. no signs of damp. Also quite a big footprint. And again, gotta love that 80s look and the suspended ceilings. So I can just see renovation costs ticking up on this thing. It is a nice backyard and overall quite a decently constructed property. Now let's have a look at the close-up pictures. There's quite a lot of them. So I'll start with what we have here. And what I'm interested in are, as I said, close-ups of things, because once we see the detail, then we know where we're at with everything.
The roof looks okay, just need cleaning cut, what I see.
Yeah.
A lot of moss.
It does look okay, in fact. And this also looks like a concrete tiled roof, which is good because they're generally well built and they're very easy to service. So they're not pinned in like slate roofs. So here you've got slate roofing and these are nailed in. And if the nails come out, the slate slides, and then you have to put in a thing called a tingle to hold it back in. It's just a mess. Whereas with these, you literally lift up the tiles above the broken tile, you slot in a fresh tile. It's really easy. So this roof looks good to me. And again, consistent with this idea that this roof has had 40 years of weathering, hence all the moss. Moss isn't a big deal either, by the way. I know surveyors talk about it being an issue, but I don't really think it's a major problem. It's it's a problem, but it's not a problem, if that makes sense. It's a cavity construction as far as I can see. We know this because of the orientation of the bricks. Pretty sure it's cavity. And
I cannot see. It doesn't have EPC.
Right. Well, that's consistent with the idea that it's an old house. But if you look at the house next door, which has had stuff going on, it's good.
Yeah, but the only number 14 and 6 have EPC. These two properties are like around, doesn't have, and they should be around 96 meters square.
So they
maybe one more, 107.
So the property down here.
Yeah, they are large. They are large properties, which is good.
And it's consistent with what we see. Okay, let's have a look at the next image.
Yes, and they are EPCD.
Okay, well, that's pretty consistent with everything so far, i.e. cavity wall and so on. Now, we haven't seen...
We have Wentels bricks, so on the bottom, which is good.
Oh, ventilation bricks, yes.
Yeah.
So this was probably built with decent damp proofing, which is a good thing. I.e. it's late enough property, maybe it is early 30s, which would kind of fit with the technology, let's call it. And also, by the way, these chimney pots have capping on them, which is great. So it's just one less source of water going into the building. Okay, it all looks quite good so far.
Yep.
But it's all in the detail. And let's have a look again. Good bricks. I know it seems like a random thing, but when a house has got good bricks as opposed to bad bricks, what that means is that the fundamentals are good, because you can't replace all the bricks on a house. Otherwise you have to replace the house, right? So bricks are a permanent feature. And what I'm always looking for are buildings with bad bricks, because if you've got that, it's like it's just a recipe for trouble. Anyway, all of this looks fine. Let's have a look at the next images, going deeper down, deeper into the files. And I'll make this
I
full-sized.
think this is in the kitchen.
This is this is an issue, but I'm really not clear on exactly what's going on with this. I don't know where it is. So let me just check the estate agency pictures. Okay, so it's here. All right. I don't think it's a serious problem because it's what I classify as kind of falling damp. So you've got two types of damp effectively. You've got damp from below rising, and then arguably you could say this is falling, as in it's come from up going down. So there is some kind of an issue here, but I don't see it as a major issue. There are no real signs of serious damp, which is good. Backyard needs a bit of a cleanup. Now let's just go watch the video and see what we can see.
Yeah, the house looks really nice.
Yes, and it's a good size and all of that good stuff. It's fundamentally a good property, actually.
Yeah, it's need modernizing a lot, but basically it's a good one.
Also, because it's
I will make a new kitchen.
Yeah, it definitely is a kitchen.
Because also it has some like not dumps, but in the kitchen we will see in the video. Already watched.
All the guttering looks pretty solid as well. There's no signs of water coming down the side of the building from leaking gutters or anything like that. And even if it did, the brick quality, the bricks are good enough quality so that the water wouldn't necessarily soak in. It's also a very nice road, I've got to say.
Yeah.
It's like a nice, polite road with nice people.
Yeah, there is no any flood risk. It's low.
Yeah, this is
very low risk, so that's nice. That's always positive.
It is, and yeah, it is. It's shaping up to be a good property. And what have we got here? Okay.
That's okay.
Yeah.
The flooring is changing.
Yes. So you've got the floorboarding on the hall.
Yeah, and I will change this.
You've got something going on here, but I think that's just not great papering, basically. I don't think it's a damp issue. Right, so we've got this going on. Okay, so this is the ground floor and this is the front reception room.
It's not...
Yeah, okay, so the question is, where did that come from? Well, it might be something very simple, like a pipe that's been leaking for a long time. I would guess that that's what's going on. And that's all right. They're just trying to patch it up. It's just carpet. It's tape, basically, which has been there for a very long time. And it's the glue from the back of the tape, so it's not an issue. Less talk, more focus. That's what I'm doing right now.
Yeah, but
I would put in laminate flooring in here.
Yeah,
now, this kitchen needs a complete redo. You could get away with not redoing the kitchen if you wanted to just buy it and hope for the best. And the kitchen would be acceptable if you were on economy with this property. But the idea is to add value. And yeah, so, okay, there's a few things here. I'll just go back a bit. You see that kitchen hinge? So you see that kitchen hinge? That means it's a modern kitchen. Now, what that means is that the carcasses are going to be okay. What that means is if you want to make it modern, buy new doors, exactly. So you're all good on that front, which then means it's a lot less expenditure.
Yeah, it's 1,000 like fix.
Yeah.
Kitchen.
Yeah.
I will do that. I will not change. I will not make a new.
Yeah,
I will keep the tiles anyway. They are not nice, but I will keep it. So because they look that's still okay.
Well, let's go back to this because it's a really big question. So what would you do? Would you keep the blue tiles?
Yeah, I will. It will not make a lot of. Maybe I will change the floor, I'll make it something like light blue or so, or gray. So
Right, so just give it a whole blue theme.
yeah.
I
And
think
maybe,
the thing
and
with
if you
colors, yeah, go
yeah,
on.
and if you make all white the kitchen, if you change the doors in white, then it will have better look, blue and white.
Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah.
So we'll keep less. I mean, it will be like 1,000, 1,500 to do that. So better
So
than the whole
yeah,
kitchen.
so for the kitchen, you're replacing the cupboard doors, which is maybe, as you say, 1,500. Are you removing the tiling on the floor?
I don't know. Yeah, maybe remove and put a new, or just put on the top. I don't know what we can do.
It's really down to whether there's issues with tilers.
Yeah,
If you can get tilers, great. It's easy then. So this is where we'd have to talk and
yeah.
talk to our contractors and just see what they have to say. The whole thing with these okay, we need a new consumer unit. That's 500 quid. And as ever these days,
And
what?
I will put new flooring on the whole property down.
Yes, I agree. The laminate flooring is quite tired. So
Yeah,
laminate in the kitchen area, hall, wherever there's traffic between the dining room, etc. Now, again, another 80s
yeah.
setup here. At least the boiler is here instead of in a bedroom or someplace like that. Yeah, so if you make that consistent, so you have consistent coloring in this room, you're good. And I wouldn't touch the conservatory apart from clean it and maybe replace the polycarbonate with a more efficient one. Yeah. And maybe a more modern fan, or just take well, you need a fan in there because it gets outrageously hot. So what I would do for this room, by the way, just to say, is you see the way it's very transparent. The best solution is to replace all the polycarbonate with a more modern one that's more thermally efficient and more opaque, i.e. the sun can't get through it. And if it's done that way, then you're good. Now you can see that they've got blinds here coming up, but it's just better polycarbonate. It's a project. It's not a huge one. These things
And
are all designed to be modular, so you just remove the framework and then stick in another one.
yeah, it needs cleaning the garden. That's 500 more.
It all looks fundamentally sound. And the
So
good thing about
basically, it's need complete redecoration, the ground floor, put new flooring, change the doors of the kitchen, and painting. So
yeah.
so that's around, and plus new boiler and so on. It will take like only the ground floor will take 6,000-7,000.
So the thing with this property is it's possibly big enough. I saw a big old crack there. We'll have a look at that in a minute. Yeah, you see, this is quite interesting. That landing, if you look there on, I'll just pause this. Okay. And stop. No, don't stop there. There, right. This is very interesting. That bedroom is huge, and that landing allows you to potentially put a doorway here into the bedroom here. So you could split this room and put a partition here, and you've got your extra bedroom, maybe. One would
I
have
need to
to check all
check,
the floor plans for.
but it doesn't have floor plans because it doesn't have really a
Yeah,
lot
not
of
this
ceilings
one, but
around.
not this one, but
Yeah, I will find.
there'll be something similar, I'm sure. Yeah, you can see that. So where all that fitted furniture is there, that side box, that side cabinet, that could be the doorway. You got the partition going through. It naturally lends itself to having an extra bedroom. Big old
Okay, I found.
crack in the ceiling. Okay, can you show us what you got?
Yeah.
I'm not concerned about the big crack in the ceiling, by the way, just so you know.
I think it's the same type of property. So the landing it's not the same.
Yeah, the drawing doesn't really explain it very well, but we saw in this one there was
3 doors. No.
Yeah.
Let me check something else. Number 28. It's not the same. Basically, the bedroom 3 is up to here. Yeah, it's same way. So basically, I think we cannot split. We need to make the floor plan, but maybe there is, because here they make on our property have wall here. It doesn't have this wall and this wall. And
yeah, so you've got
exactly,
you've got the stairs coming up, and then you've got the gap, and then so there might be scope for that extra bedroom.
Yeah.
Makes it very interesting.
Okay. We need to check. So
okay, let's go back. So carry on. All right. Now the crack in the ceiling, to me, it's a non-issue. If it puts other people off, I'm pleased. It's just people tromping around in the roof space and weight, essentially. So it's not a problem. They obviously spent on this property when they did a renovation, because they got the fancy lead-lined windows, which was, again, was a very 80s look.
Yeah, it's not painting and new carpets, basically. Or maybe the carpets can be kept. But not, I will change it. Put more modern, because they're not the same color. So
I just want to go back here and have a look at this. This is just super interesting. I think there is scope for a bedroom in here. I think it's got the footage. Yeah. One has to, this is where one really has to get in with a measuring tape and just work it all out.
Yeah, but let's not do that now, because we cannot.
Yeah.
But here is the door. Can you back? Can you back? So
yeah,
basically, you just need to put a new door here, and that's it.
Yeah, so you got
where you said, yeah,
one door there. Yeah, exactly.
On the right,
partition.
on the right, on the right, you put, and you can split it to 2 bedrooms. Yes, you can.
Yeah. So you put the door there, you've got the space, and in you go.
Exactly. But in rent-off point of view, will not that change much, because people not really like to rent 4 bedrooms. But yeah, I mean, it will increase, but not that much. I need to make analyze.
So this is 3 bedrooms, is it?
Yeah.
Sorry. Okay. Okay. Well, yeah, you're right. Yeah, 4 bedrooms. Well, you say that, but then people like to have a study. If you could have a little office, a home office in a property, very nice.
Yeah, extra bedroom is always nice to have.
Well, if it was me, I would happily take a smaller master bedroom and an extra bedroom, a 4th bedroom, which is the home study. Just because obviously I like working from home.
But this property will rent 1,050, 1,100.
Okay, that's the moss from the roof, by the way.
Yeah, but I think this property needs around 15,000 for renovation.
Yes, I think you're right.
But if you don't change the kitchen, just fix it.
More ceiling cracks. Again, that's just people.
Yeah, bathroom need change.
Trampling around. Yes. So bathroom in theory is 3, but you have to assume 4 because you got the tiling as well to do. tiling is hassle because it's just like it's quite
But
and you got to do the ceiling.
But we will check with Layla, do we really need to change? Can we rent it like this? Because they look good condition, but this is the study, so small bedroom. So that's why it's good to make fourth, because this can be a study.
See those 1980s doors? Yeah.
I need to check with Layla, but I think you can keep that bathroom. Just maybe change everything what is brown and white. So.
And then we have the loft, which is boarded out.
They didn't allow him to go to the board. As far I remember the comment from Uber.
Yeah, so it's a boarded out loft room, but what they haven't done is strengthen the joists. So it means that you put weight up there like somebody or something plus storage or whatever, it's naturally going to affect this. It's not strong enough to handle weight, and that's why it's a problem. Okay, so I think we've looked at all the videos. Over to you, Martin. Or before we get into the screen share, so I look like a terrorist.
Hi.
Yeah, I think you have to assume about 17,000, say £17,000 for renovation, somewhere in that order. And
depends. Maybe if you just not do all the work, like new bathroom, for example, just make it more, clean it and make it more.
Yeah,
I think you can get a lower amount, but let's count like 17. So your internet connection is getting bad, I guess.
Yes,
but it's okay. So I will share my screen. I will speak about the location first. So first I will go. Can you see my screen?
I do, thank you.
Okay, so basically what I noticed, you can park the car, and we can back in time and see how the properties look like in the past. And interesting about this property, in the entrance is not there. The entrance is on the side, which is interesting and it's not bad.
It's nice. In a way, it's good because it's more space efficient, and you go then straight through to the kitchen, I think.
Yeah. So the location, as I said, it's really nice. I know that we analyzed one property here, but this have much better location. Plus, it have parking, and it's really close to the entrance to the highway. You have markets there. You have a lot of green space. You have schools large. So basically, it's really nice. And if you want to go to Manchester, let's say to the city center, if you want to go to Manchester no, this is something wrong. It's not possible. You have buses something is wrong with the car. It's typical for 14 to 30 minutes, depends on the traffic jam. It's really close. I know that there is a lot of buses here on the main road. So it's around 20-30 minutes to go to Manchester. That's about the location. We don't have EPC, but I can see similar property number 6. And our property is 10 and 6 is this one. It's look the same size. And they have D, so I think we can achieve D, and the size should be between 107 meters square to I think 93, based on the author EPC. And there is no flood risk, very low risk, and there is no coal mining issue because the property is here and there is not around. So basically everything works well with the location. So now I will go to the Capital Grove. Capital Grove is really nice. So I can zoom in. So maybe Nick can.
Thank you. Let's have a look. Well, that's
this is my old. I will open another map in between. When we look,
yeah, is that the postcode district growth you've got there?
Yeah.
Yeah. The reason postcode district growth is okay but not especially helpful is because it's not as detailed as MSOA growth.
Yeah.
You can build much more of a picture of what's going on when you look at the MSOA growth.
Yeah, but I really like this property when you
Yeah,
do the comparables.
I do too.
It's a lot of work.
Yeah.
But it will. We had luck. This property is three days on the market, and we have already the viewing yesterday. So I think we will have luck to send offer and maybe get accepted.
Mm-hmm.
Because
I think it's that sweet spot where it needs too much work for a lot of homeowners, and it's not so much work that it's say structural, which then takes you into a whole other realm of hassle. So it's this beautiful sweet spot, in my view. It's the place where we are the most competitive. And very simply, as I'm sure you'll know, because I've said many times, that the reason properties in really good condition go so quickly is because first-time buyers can get 95% loan-to-value mortgages. So if they have an extra £10,000, for example, saved up, and they put that into renovations, well, then that makes no sense when they could put 10 grand in on an extra deposit at 95% LTV. That's £200,000 extra house price they could buy. So that's right, yeah, 20 multiplied by 20, yeah. So it's just these properties which need work are just less attractive to owner-occupiers for all this reason. Anyway, let's have a look. So the question then is, if the capital growth around here is so huge, which it is, and this is some of the highest growth in the country, by the way, is there a lot of local authority around there?
No. It have here, this part is local authority, but this part is not.
So what's interesting is
maybe we can check this one.
Yeah, if you zoom in, you'll be able to see. It's always encouraging when you see widespread growth across a whole region, which is what you've got here. And yeah, so once you zoom in, you should be able to see the...
Yeah, the property is here. The postal is wrong. Property is exactly here.
Okay, my screen is just
matter, so.
My screen is just kind of catching up. Okay, there we go.
Yeah, the demographics are nice.
Good. And
crime is low, 5 crimes. So here is more crime, but here is social house or social houses. So
can you just click on the capital? Can you click on the capital growth number there for just let's have a look. It's one thing I'm curious about is the churn. It's quite interesting. It's not really churning that much. Now, I don't know why. What's the average age?
I will check on here. In the hall?
No, it won't have it there. So it's on the demographics thing.
Yeah, here, for example, 39, 38.
Yeah, so it's
46,
a family. It's a family area then.
39. Yeah, it's
a very
35.
So my read on this is it's a very settled family area where property doesn't
34.
Yeah, yeah. So
35.
my take is that we've got a lot of local authority housing, and that
But
can
they're
affect-
here.
Yeah,
this
are they
point.
outside the boundary of this? So just generally good local authority housing, it gets bought up by the occupants and then gets resold at a huge increase, and that's because they buy the property at a discount and they resell it.
Yeah.
But overall, my read on this area is that it's a settled family area, and it's got value because it's a bit further out, but it's still very accessible to central Manchester.
New builds.
It's got plenty of green space and all of that stuff, and availability is quite low here. So in other words, there just isn't much reason to sell, so people don't really sell, and that's why the churn rate is quite low.
Yeah, I really like the locations.
So do I. I think this is shaping up to be a very good property.
Yeah. So I want to see that the comparables for renting, this is not comparables. I think we'll rent for 1,100, 1,200.
Yeah. If you had a fourth
I think
room,
this is like example of property where we have the same. So look how you need to make it just to be 1,100. You need to modernize it.
Mm.
But I will not modern. So for example, this is, I think it was this 4, 3. You see, this kitchen is not the best. It's nice, but so this is for one. I will show you. Like this is renting. So you need to make it better.
Yeah. So the point is that you can't really economize that aggressively on it. In other words, it's not a good idea to just patch things up and hope for the best.
So yeah, maybe it will take 22,000 to make it.
I would
nice,
say, yeah,
but it will rent 1,100 at least. So the asking price for this property is 185.
Mm-hmm.
So let's say you buy for 197 plus 20 to 23k for whole renovation, but make it really modern. So that's sorry what I did. 197, 3,000 for renovation. So 220. But if you do one, what I did.
Yeah. Yeah.
6% of yield, which is amazing.
Yeah, it is very good. And what about comparable house prices for the area? So in other words, is it worth sinking the money into it? Because the other side of this equation is that you buy it, you renovate it, and then you refinance it, and then that's how the whole thing works.
3-bedroom terrace house, 300.
But that's a very grand house.
Yeah, 225, 210, 175, 265, 225, 290, 150. This is really good. I think the real price is around 220. When we'll do it.
So what, 220 renovated?
Yeah, it will be 230 maybe, because for example, this property here was selling a little bit cheaper, but they don't have private parking. This is larger, it has private parking, it's not on the slope, it's much better, I think, than. So I think it's really, the house really works. And
yeah, you touched on an interesting point, that houses on slopes are generally less attractive. Like just people prefer houses on the flat, and this is a house on the flat.
Yeah, so you can see this is also example of property. It have little extension, so and they're asking 260.
Yeah, I think with this house, it's worth doing the bathroom properly. So bathroom properly, kitchen properly, redo the conservatory, and really tidy it up. And therefore, I would say it's worth sinking maybe 25 grand into this, potentially. Yeah. Now, the idea is you assume the worst. You assume the worst, and then one goes through the process of getting contractor estimates and all that kind of stuff in, and then you go from there.
With the worst is going to it's going to have 6% of yield. So
yeah, it's a very nice property. It's a nice road as well. Like it's a nice wide road and it's flat and it's
yeah,
very nice.
yeah, and you can see these people here make extension. This one makes extension. This people make extension. Like all of the houses have at least small extension. So that shows that the people care about the properties.
Yeah.
See, almost every property have extension.
The thing with this property though is it's big enough so that it probably doesn't need a meaningful extension. Like the conservatory at the back is probably okay.
Yeah, it's
and
okay.
then in the future, a homeowner can do something with it, and you could have a full width, but then you're into all the structural stuff. So it's probably best to avoid that. The most you would go for, I suggest, is the partition to get yourself that extra bedroom, which then becomes a study. So you want 3 beds and 1 study, perfect. And then you're opening yourself up to all those knowledge workers who want to work.
But you can see that they have windows here on the loft. So it's
they've boarded that out, and that's a kind of semi-usable space, but it's not structurally sound enough because they didn't sort out the roof joists, and you'd have to beef up all the joists to be able to handle the weight. And we saw the consequences of that because there were all the cracked ceilings. So I would only use the loft as a storage space.
Yeah, I will not fix it. I will just I will put better stairs and clean it. So that's all. But that's not a big work. And you can see they make a private parking here.
Yeah, it's very
and they made it like a fence, so which is really nice. So
and it's good high security. And in fact, what you could do is go all the way with that and build a carport there if you wanted, or you could build gates, have an agreement with the neighbor, and then get gates blocking off that whole thing, and then you've got security for your vehicles, which is a very good thing.
Yeah, it's really nice, and also you can park.
Yeah, exactly. You were going to say, yeah, exactly, parking up front.
Yeah, you can see how they park. You also can park here.
Should we score this? Let's score it and see what we come up with now. I have.
We need to call the agent.
Yeah, we do that kind of nowish, basically. And I'll just get my. So it's score. What scores? Sorry, I should have organized this. So this is Hilldale Avenue.
Yeah, 10 Hilldale Avenue.
Thank you.
M9.
Okay.
6 PP.
There we are. There's our thing. Lots of properties. My goodness, we've been busy, haven't we? The great thing about these scores are that they all accumulate and they end up being quite a useful resource. Okay, number 10.
Yeah.
Right. I will make this a bit bigger so you can see it better, and I'll go 150, hopefully. Yeah, there we go.
Completion. All right. The structural is nice, but needs a lot of work, but not structural work, so which is always positive.
It's fundamentally very, very sound. Like we said earlier, it's had that huge renovation 40 years ago, 35, 40 years ago. So that's still useful, as it were. So somebody else did the really heavy lifting on this property. All right, let's call the condition 3.5.
Yeah, or 3.2.
Because I'll compromise. Let's go 3.3.
Yeah.
It is a condition, location.
Yeah, but it's nice for. It's not the best, but it's really nice. So.
Okay, and area.
Yeah, it's really, really nice. It's 4 as well.
Crime.
It's low.
Is good. Demographics.
They are nice.
But not super good. Good.
Yeah, but they're 4. They're okay. Especially for buy-to-let, they're really nice. And for
capital growth is astonishing.
Yeah.
But this is because places like this represent value, and where we are in the property cycle is things are kind of moving through. Everyone's getting desperate, so they kind of displace out into these previously less attractive areas, and that's what happens. Okay, so sell time, of course, it'll sell quickly.
Yeah.
And rent time, yes. And yield?
Yes, it's good. 4.
Okay, let's see what we get.
I think even the yield is better because the yield, if the worst scenario is 6 and it's not worst scenario, it will be, yeah. So
I'll make it a 4.2. Right, we have this pricing thing, which I've got to sort out, but essentially, let's see what we come up with.
The function maybe it doesn't work. Can you check?
No, you know what it is? It's the spreadsheet. It's kind of thinking about it. All right, I will.
But I think it's around 4.1.
Yeah, it'll come up in a moment. All right. Whilst it's thinking about it, I'll just quit screen share. Okay. In summary, then, it needs circa 20 to 25,000 pounds in it. It's worth what? So, what would it be worth when renovated?
220, 230.
And what do you think it would take to buy it?
I think 197 will be serious consider.
Yeah. Yes, and I haven't got the score yet, but it'll come through hopefully. Sometimes it's just because I'm on a slow machine and it's just taking its time. All right. Therefore, what is the maximum viable offer on this, in your opinion?
203 or 202.5.
Yeah.
But because I don't want more, because after when the validation will come, it will not be viable because the mortgage broker will say yes, but this property doesn't worth that much.
Yeah, I think with properties like this, there's scope for increased value because you can get that extra bedroom in. And in theory, you could extend it, which surveyors like, because then their equation is always based on number of square feet, and then if you extend the number of square feet in a property, you then uprate the value. But overall, I would say it's a super
I just want to
attractive
see. Yeah, I just want to see if it's a freehold or leasehold. It should be freehold.
Okay, here we go. It's finally done it. It's just because my machine is slow, etc. So it comes up with a 4.14, which is a good score. Our average is 3.96. It's the yield, it's way higher on yield than average. It is, let's see, capital growth is 4.11. It's higher than average on that. There you go. It just stacks up as a very, very good property. So, I didn't share my screen.
Yeah, it's okay.
Yeah, there you go. You can see the scores here anyway. So 4.14, it's very good.
Yeah, it's really nice, really nice.
Well above average. We have very few bad properties because we pre-assess stuff so thoroughly beforehand. So that's that. But and occasionally we see things where there's a fundamental problem, or whatever, and then this is a really good property.
Yeah, and it doesn't have any risk like flood, coal mining, so that's always positive. So it have parking, private also on the street, plenty of parking, plenty of green space around. It have 2 gas stations around, like 2 minutes driving, and you have large supermarket. You have schools around. You have easy access to the highway. So I think the location is really nice.
It is. All right, let us know what you want to do. Thank you very much.
Thank you.